Good morning. Welcome to the lecture series of object-oriented programming concepts in Python. In the previous class, we discussed about the classes and objects concepts. In today's class, we try to discuss about the inheritance. So, the agenda in today's class is inheritance and the examples of each and every types of inheritance. So, first we try to define the inheritance. Inheritance allows to define a class that inherits all the methods and properties from another class. So already one class is available and we want to define a new class with all the existing features of the existing class. In addition to that, we want to add some more additional features. Then we go for the inheritance. The inheritance simply provides the code reusability. So whenever we are using the inheritance, we are using the two terms. One is the parent class and another one is the child class. The parent class is the class being inherited from, that is from which class we want to derive a new class. That class is considered as a parent class and it is also be called as the base class. The another one is the child class. The child class is the class that inherits from the another class. For example, we want to derive a new class B from A. In that case, A is considered as a parent class and B is called as a child class. The child class is also be called as a subclass or it is also be called as the derived class. So we try to discuss how to define the parent and the child classes in Python programming language. So whenever we need to create a parent class, any class can be a parent class. So automatically the parent class creation is nothing but the class creation in Python programming language. So the syntax is just similar to the class definition in Python programming language. Now we try to discuss one simple example and we want to create a parent class. Its name is a person consisting of the attributes first name and last name, and we want to define a method. Its name is the print name. So this is one of the example how to define a parent class. The class name is a person with the attributes is the first name and last name and the method name is the print name. So here this is the definition in Python programming language. Class person, the class is a keyword and person is the name of the class, and init is the constructor in the Python programming language. It simply takes the f name and l name as the parameters, and what is the argument we passed in the f name, that is assigned to the first name, and what is the parameter we passed in the l name, that is passed assigned to the last name. And here in this example, the first name and last name are the object attributes of the person class. That is, whenever we define any object of the person class, that object consisting of the two attributes, one is the first name and another one is the last name. Now we define one method, its name is the print name. So in Python programming language, whenever we need to define, we are using the def is the keyword and the method name is the print name. And here the purpose of the print name is we want to display the first name and last name of the particular person. That is, we want to display the entire name of the particular person. For that reason, we are using the statement print self dot first name comma self dot last name. It simply displays the information is existing on the first name and last name attributes of the particular object. Now we discuss with how to create an object and how to use the print name method of the print name method. So here in this example, x is equal to person and we are passing the two arguments. The f name is the Hemanta Kumar and L name is the Kalluri. So automatically it creates an object. The object name is x and the x object first name attribute consisting of the Hemanta Kumar and x attribute last name attribute consisting of the Kalluri. Now we try to use how to use the print name method. So it is a simple one. X dot print name automatically displays Hemanta Kumar Kalluri is the output is displayed on the screen. I hope you understand how to define a person class which is the attributes of the f name and l name, and we define a function print name method, and next one is we created one object x and we get the parameters of the Hemanta Kumar is the f name and Kalluri is the l name, and based on that one it simply created an x object of the person class and we simply use the print name. It simply displays the first name and last names are nothing but the Hemanta Kumar Kalluri is simply displayed on the screen. Now we try to discuss how to create a child class. So to create a class that inherits the functionality from another class, so automatically from which class we need to inherit, that one is sent to the parent class as a parameter when creating the child class. That is nothing but whenever we need to create a child class from the parent class need to be given as the parameter to the child class definition, then automatically the child class is simply created. Now we want to create a student is a child from the person, but what are the attributes are existing on the person we need to consider, and we need not add any additional attributes at the time of the student class definition. For that reason here we are using the syntax is the class student, and we are passing the person as a parameter, and based on that one, and next one we are using the pass. That itself indicates that the student class consisting of the what are the attributes and the methods are available in the person class, and we are not adding any additional attributes and the methods, then we are using the pass statement. So automatically here in this example the student is considered as the child class, or it is also be called as a subclass, and person is called as the parent class, or it is also be called as the super class. Now we try to discuss with one example how to create an object of the student class. Here in this example x is equal to student, and we are passing the parameters is the Sunil comma Kumar, then automatically the x is a student object, and the student object is also be consisting of the two parameters, one is the first name and another one is the last name. The first name attribute is consisting the Sunil, and the last name attribute consisting the Kumar. Now we create one example. S1 is equal to student of, we are passing the three parameters, so we want to create a student S1 with the attributes name is Kumar, and the register number is the 191FA04001, and he is studying the first year is the year value. So automatically S1 object is created with the attributes name value is Kumar, register number is 191FA04001, and year is representing the first year. And whenever we are calling the S1 dot display name, it simply displays the information is the name is Kumar. So automatically the output is displayed as the name is Kumar. I hope you understand how to define the student class. Now our requirement is from the student class we want to define the fast learner as a subclass. So we are assuming that every fast learner is also required the name of the student and register number of the student. In addition to that, year of this, which year he is studying. In addition to that one, the fast learner is registering the additional courses. So in addition to the regular courses, he is interested to learn some additional courses to enhance his skills. For that reason, we define the class fast learner. So we want to define the class name is the fast learner, and within the parenthesis we are given the student as a parameter. That itself indicates that student is the superclass. From that superclass we try to derive the child or the subclass is the fast learner. And here in the constructor we simply pass the parameters is the name, register number, year, additional course. That is nothing but whenever we need to create a fast learner object, we need to pass the four parameters, and what is the name of the student, and what is the register number of the student, and which year he is studying. In addition to that one, what are the additional courses he is studying. These are the four parameters we need to pass, and once we pass these four parameters we need to call the parent class constructor. For that reason here we are using the statement is the super dot init, and we are passing the three parameters name, register number, year. That is nothing but we simply call the student class constructor with the name, register number and year to assign the values to the fast learner object parameters name, register number and year. In addition to that one, the fast learner is having one more attribute, additional courses. For that reason we are assigning self dot a course is equal to the a course. So automatically this is the way whenever we need to define the constructor of the derived class, and if we want to use its a parent class constructor, we must use the super dot init. That is nothing but init is used, it is a constructor. But whenever we need to call the parent class constructor, we compulsorily use the super dot init, and we need to pass what are the parameters we need to pass. That is nothing but the name, register number and year. Automatically those three values are assigned to the attributes of the fast learner object. Now our requirement is we want to display the name of the fast learner. For that reason we simply use the method name is the display name 1. Why we call the display name 1? Because the display name is already used a method in the student class. So here also we use the display name, then automatically there is a method overload. The requirement is we need to use the display name as well as the that is we want to use the display name of the student class, and we are also interested to use the name display method is existing on the fast learner. Whenever we are not required the method overloading, then we need to give the another name. For that reason here we choose the display name 1 is the method name we consider in the fast learner, and here we simply display the name is name followed by the is a fast learner, that is the message simply displayed on the screen. Now we try to create one of the object of the fast learner. Here this is one of the example. S2 is equal to the fast learner, and we are passing the parameters is the name is Sunil, and the register number is 181 FA04001, and the year is the second year, and the next one is the programming language is the Python. So automatically it simply creates an object, student object. The object name is S2, and the S2 object name attribute consisting the Sunny, and the register number is 181 FA04001, and the year value is the second year, and the additional course is represented as the Python. Now we simply use the S2 dot display name, automatically display the name of the particular student. That is, remember, this simply displays that Sunil is a fast learner. So automatically the output we are able to get is the Sunil is a fast learner. I hope you understand how to use the single inheritance. The example we considered is the student is the base class, and the student class consisting of the attributes name, register number and year, and based on the student class we have created the fast learner. The fast learner is consisting of all the attributes and the methods are existing on the student. In addition to that one, we want to use one more attribute is the additional course, and we are adding one more function, that is the display name 1. It is that is the difference between the display name and the display name 1. In the display name it simply displays the name. For example, in this example we use the S2 dot display name, it simply displays the Sunil. But our requirement is the Sunil is a fast learner. For that reason we are defining the method name is the display name 1. In that one it displays the name of the student followed by the is a fast learner is a constant string is displayed. Here the name of the student is Sunil. For that reason whenever we call the S2 dot to display name 1, it simply displays a fast learner. I hope you understand how to define or how to use the single inheritance. Now we try to discuss about the multi-level inheritance. That is, the name itself indicates in the multi-level inheritance. First we take the A is a base class or the super class. From that A class we try to derive the B class, that is the subclass. Again using the B as a base class we want to derive the C class. So C is considered as a subclass. So in this example we try to take A student is a base class. From that student we try to derive the fast learner. Again we are using the fast learner as a base class to define the code. Actually the fast learner he simply take the different approaches. One fast learner is they are very much interested. There are the different ways for the fast learner. Some of the students are motivated to go for that either they are very much interested in the GATE, GRE or the TOEFL, and some are interested, they want to place in the multinational companies just like the Amazon or the Google. In those there is a need of the more coding skills is required. So automatically we are assuming that the coder is one class of student. His concentration is to try to enhance his skills in the problem solving capabilities. For that reason here we are assuming that student is the base class. From the student class we try to define the fast learner. Again we are using the fast learner as a base class. We want to define the coder. His main goal is we want to become the first in the coding competitions. So you want to practice more in the problem solving. So we try to discuss. So here this is the example. For example, already we in the previous examples we discussed the student is a base class. It consisting of the attributes name, register number and year, and a method is the display name. Based on the student class we define the fast learner. The fast learner consisting of the is a parent attributes, that is nothing but the name, register number, year. In addition to that one it It is also be consisting of additional course A course, and it is also be having one more method is the display names. We want to define the coder, we want to maintain in which platform he is practicing more on the Python programming language or the C or the Java programming language to solve the problems. For that reason, here we try to define class coder, and it takes the base class is the fast learner, because for that reason we are specifying the fast learner is within the parenthesis. And next one is here is the constructor in the coder. It simply takes the parameters is the name, register number, year, additional course A course. In addition to that one, it is also takes one more parameter is the platform, which platform the student is practicing more. So here we simply call the super.init, that is nothing but it simply called the constructor of the parent class, that is nothing but the fast learner. Already we know that the fast learner constructor takes the 4 parameters, name, register number, year, additional course. These 4 parameters are passed to the super.init function, that is it simply calls the fast learner constructor. In addition to that one, self.platform is equal to platform, that is nothing but what is the platform information is given, that is assigned to the object parameter of the platform. So this is the way we are able to define the constructor of the coder. And next we try to define a method. Its method name is the display information. For that reason we given the name is the display info. And here in this one we want to display the self dot, and that is we are displaying the name of the student is a good coder in which platform is a good coder. Example is some student is coding well in the Python programming language, then automatically simply display the name of the student is a good coder in Python or the C or the Java we want to display. Now we take one example. S3 is equal to coder of, we pass the parameters, his name is Kumar, and the next one is the register number is 191, and the next one is the year is the 3rd year, and next one is the additional course is taken is the Python, and he is working on the platform is the Python programming language. He is very much interested to solve the problems. So automatically S3 object is created with the attributes is name value is Kumar, register number is 191, and year is the 3rd year, and the additional course is Python, and the platform he is working is also be the Python programming language. Now we simply use the S3.display info. So automatically it simply displays Kumar is a good coder in Python. So automatically this is the output is displayed, Kumar is a good coder in Python. So till now we discussed about the single inheritance, multi-level inheritance we discussed. The remaining multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance will be discussed in the next class. Thank you for listening.